Good morning. It's Monday. Time to go to work day. I woke up kind of early this morning. I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. This is Summer, our little dancy girl. Yes, aren't you? Aren't you, sweetheart? Yeah. I think I have 8 more weeks of school. That's it. That's crazy that we only have 8 weeks left of school. Crazy, Mama. Crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Did you have a good night, Summer? I came in and she's all snuggled up with her daughter. Burrowed down in the hay. All right. Need time for me. So I made mozzarella this weekend, and I grated it all, which was nice. I got about a gallon bag full of mozzarella cheese in the freezer. Because it's fresh, it is definitely a good thing to keep it in the freezer. So it won't last forever. There are no preservatives in it. And because it's kind of, I stored it in the fridge overnight to let it set before I shredded it, because it was still weeping a little bit of milk. And it was interesting because the top one had already started to develop a skin on it. Like the hard skin that you find on good cheese, the rind, I think is what they call it. But my cheese press and my cheese book are on the way, which is good. I don't think I'm really going to have enough time during the school year to be making a lot of cheese. We'll see how involved it is. I hate mozzarella because you have to like reheat it and then stretch it and then reheat it and then stretch it. Might actually take a little bit longer than the cheese in the cheese press, because once you put the cheese press together, it's easier. And I rearranged the kitchen so I get everything off the top of the fridge. Put a bunch of stuff downstairs in boxes. Stuff that I don't want to get rid of, but that I'm not using a lot. So I'm storing it down there. And I think about my great grandma's kitchen. I'm not going to stop just because you stepped. I don't think she did that one to be malicious. I think she did that because she was moving to other grain. So I found a new goat podcast, and we're talking about Johne's. And in case you don't know what Johne's is a wasting disease that goes in ruminants. There's no treatment for it. There's no cure. You never know unless you get them blood work done. And they're saying that a negative test doesn't mean a negative. You have to wait. And it's kind of like parvo. It stays in the dirt. So I noticed Artie lost weight again. And he's only 3, so according to them, he's too young to be showing signs of Johne's. Which is good, because I don't want Johne's. Because they're saying you should cull all of them. But it is breeding season. This one here is in heat. She's in estrus right now. So anytime there's anything down there, he loses his mind and starts peeing on his face. He's more into peeing on himself right now than he is eating. So he's done this every breeding season. It's almost time to put Autumn out with him. I am going to go ahead and breed her. We'll see how that breeding turns out. They were talking about not breeding crypt orchids. Because I guess it can lead to tumors. And my question is, with the tumors, how much of the tumors are from the crypt orchid and how much of the tumors and diseases have we got because we're feeding them all this pelleted stuff? And that we've taken them off what they normally eat. So I think, here's my thoughts on hay. We've been really focused on getting the most amount of protein out of our hay that we can, so that we don't have to feed them as much hay. If that makes sense. It's cheaper to not have to pay them that much. It's cheaper not to have to give them as much hay. So horses, for instance, you feed them alfalfa, you can feed them flakes. And they'll feed them a flake, and it's about, depending on how big a horse it is, but a flake can be this much, it can be this much. So a flake is normally about this much. And then so when we boarded horses, and a lot of horse people who are like competitive horse people, they feed their horses twice a day. Now a horse is not a ruminant. But I have hay in my goat stalls and my horses. Every animal here has access to food 24/7. Now if that means I have rodents because of the hay, the feed left out, then I'm going to have to deal with the rodent issue versus dealing with a different issue. So when we boarded, we had to slowly switch the horses off what the other owners had done, and that was they fed them twice a day. Now they were kept, easy does it, in a pen. Easy does it. Let me finish. That didn't have much grass in it, if any, by the end of summer. Very small pens. I got supplies, and one of the other guys whose daughter did horses built us a run-in. So the horses could get out of the rain. And it rains a lot near Seattle. But that was where they stayed. So a lot of people out there, they just have them out in the field. They don't have anything. Here, though, they have access to be out of the weather, out of the wind and the rain, or the snow. And then they have access to their pasture 24/7. So it's not just a little run-in. It's a much bigger area. Because they have the arena. I give them access to the arena in the winter. Not in the summer. They don't need access to it in the summer. But anyway, so back to the feed. We had started getting local, and then I would give them half a bale of local until they got used to it. And then it got to the point where they had access to hay 24/7. And we noticed immediately after like 2 or 3 days of having hay all the time, there was no more of them crowding us when we went into their area. There was no more aggressiveness over the food. They were way more content, less anxious issues. Any barn sourness just disappeared. It's easier for them to focus on stuff. So I wonder with these diseases that we have, how much of it is because they're not getting what they need. And I know I'm going to sound like I'm harping on all natural stuff, herbs, supplements, all that stuff. But animals have evolved for thousands, millions of years. And especially a goat. They have the ruminant where they regurgitate it back and they have a cud like a cow. They, you done? Is that what you wanted? You want your apple bits now? I think when we just give them like orchard grass and not all the herbs and the weeds, the natural stuff, yes, that's in there that they need that we don't really know about, that we cause problems with them. I mean, I've got a cryptorchid boy. I don't plan on banding just one testicle because then it would look like he's not. So far, he's been laid back. They were saying that he could still breed. So he'll have to stay like a buck and be separated from the does because I don't want him to breed to his mom. I'll have him tested for other diseases. But we'll see how that goes, won't we? Yes. All right. Let's come down now. Come on. Come on. We got to go get your sister. All right. As we circle around each other. I will be right back with the other goat. Out you go. Let's go. Come on. Little buggers. Chickens are all over everything out there. They're all over everything. Hi, Bonnie. Come on in and get your milk. Alright, water's ready to overflow. That's good. Oh my goodness. I think Bonnie and Clyde came in. There's Clyde. What's up, Clyde? Where'd you go, Mama? Oh my goodness. part of me doesn't want to breed her. Not because I don't want her to have babies, because she'll have beautiful babies. What I don't want is to miss my mornings with her. Which sounds absolutely ridiculous, I suppose. But it's true, Autumn. I don't want to miss my mornings with you. So I'm gonna turn the water on while we're doing this, because otherwise I'll forget. So back to me talking about nutrition. I guess I have to go off the deep end this summer when I don't have school and do some research into figuring out what kind of studies have been done with goat nutrition, minerals, all of that stuff. And hopefully I can find stuff. I have a feeling the majority of the studies that have been done are going to be overseas. They're not going to be American studies because there's really not a huge, I mean, it's getting there. There's a lot of studies done on goats, on cows and horses, because so many people have them. So there's money to be made in them. However, when you talk about goats, not as many people use goats. I, for the life of me, can't figure out why. Well, oh, you are so full of milk, sweetheart. Are you looking at yourself? Yes, that's not where you get your milk from. I will give you some milk. Bothersome. Oh, in here wanting their milk. Wait, Mama, what you looking at? I killed that weasel, so I'm gonna come in here. I can tell you that right now. I killed it. We killed the weasel. The weasel would like come in and rustle over there, and we thought it was a mouse. Okay. I hope you got all these eggs fertilized. I'm getting ready to put them in the incubator. What'll happen is, if I count on them all hatching, they won't. So if I order my meat birds, they'll all hatch. They will all hatch. If I don't order meat birds, none of them will hatch, and my window for ordering meat birds will have gone out. So. Hey, Mommy. Hi. How are you today? I know. Let me get some milk out, and you'll be more comfortable. Yeah, you'll be more comfortable, I promise. So I can understand why, back to the dairy stuff, why if I were selling milk, and I have to be out here milking, and I have the customers, it makes more sense to have a cow, because I get way more milk. However, if it's just me, it makes more sense to have a goat or two. Less acreage, less... Bonnie, what are you doing up here? Do not pick on her. You see Bonnie? If you see her. That's your milk. Chase the other hen off. Is that what you wanted me to do, was chase that hen off your milk? Is that what you wanted? Yes, I know. I'm not giving you 2 pans of milk. This is getting ridiculous. Do not come over here and peck the container. You can't peck through the plastic. No, I don't have any for you. Oh, Bonnie. She doesn't want to share the bowl. She's a crazy. How easy you get distracted when I thought. So almost a gallon of milk a day is more than I need. Although it has been nice to be able to make all the dairy products I make. Butter. Last night I made, with this milk, I separated, I got cream, I made ice cream, and I made, well, I don't know how many pounds, a gallon of shredded mozzarella. I still have like three cups of heavy cream left. So I'll use that for, I used 3 cups for the ice cream. I made the cheese. I got maybe a half gallon of cream, heavy cream this time. Last time I got more than that. But then I wasn't selling all of the, I wasn't bartering, not selling, sorry, I misspoke. Because I don't get any money for it. The goat milk. That, and I dropped a gallon. Got wasted. But I'm finding that if I just leave the half and half in the fridge, it's not so good. I end up wasting it. I was trying to make kefir, but I think I did something wrong. It looks more like yogurt. It sat on the counter. I put it in the fridge, so I'm not sure what to do with it at this point. I think I'll try it as yogurt. It's supposed to be really full of probiotics. And I have the maple syrup, so I'll mix it with maple syrup. See how that tastes. Hey, Bonnie? What do you think, Autumn? So I always get paranoid when I find new goat things because I end up listening to all these diseases and it freaks me out. And then I start looking at my goats going, oh my God, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? It's like being a new parent all over again. You're worried about all these weird diseases. Which happen, but they're not normal. I do worry about the breeding lines, and I don't know if it's these girls or if it's not, because we had a crypt orchid, and then we had Piplip, so Pip came out of her. She's naturally pulled. Being naturally pulled can cause crypt orchid. It can cause sex gender issues, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with Pip not being able to have babies. Which if I were super responsible and I was into breeding them, then I would make sure that she didn't get bred again. However, I'm not sure. The vet was like, I don't know that that's a genetic issue because it could have just been my lords, I'm looking for a nutritional issue or a estrogen issue with the mom for her first breeding, to not worry about it. Supposedly that crypt orchid can run through lines. What else could it be caused by? Nutrition could be caused by, I don't know. But her sister isn't naturally pulled. So here's the thing with genetics is that, like, so when we were breeding dogs, all of the dogs' hips and elbows came back excellent in the line. We bought a dog from there, came back with hip dysplasia. He lived a wonderful life, you know. We kept him because we loved him. That was Ice. And we just had him neutered and didn't breed him. Not a biggie. I had one bitch, which is what you call a female dog, whose line developed cancer. Now, her owners fed them raw. I was specifically looking for raw-fed breeders. That was my Mia girl. I love that dog. She was an awesome dog, but because there were cancers in her line, her mom died of it. Both her siblings died of it. She didn't. She died of old age. But we didn't breed her because it was obvious to me that had to have been, because, you know, there were 3 generations that we could trace that all ended up dying of cancer. She just got lucky because she didn't have it. So with the genetics, you're looking at it. So all of Ice's parents' genetics were great for their hips and elbows and knees. Ice was a bad genetic out of that line and had an issue. I don't know how far we can go back and say, well, this line is clear of this and this line is clear of that. I suppose you could somehow, you ready for your apples? Go back and measure all that stuff to make sure that there's no problems with your breeding. Or I've been hearing, you don't want that? Do you want your bananas? I've been hearing stories about line breeding, of how inbred all the lines are here in the States of goats. I do know that for color-wise, now everybody's going to these cream-colored Nubians. Maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll pull up some of the older lines. What I need to find is somebody who's been into goats, breeding these goats for a long, long time. A family kind of thing. I don't know if I can import from another country. It'd have to be tested for disease. I'd be insured. You know how much that would cost me? Alright. Well, anyway, so while I'm thinking about my breeding program, and whether or not I'm putting you out with your boyfriend. I'm sorry, did we not get our scratches this morning? Yes, you want your scratches. Yes, you do. I could tell. Oh, yes. That was his warning call. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to check on the horses, give them some more hay and oats, and I'm going to put the girls up, and I will go to work. Have a good week. It's Monday. Yay.